Hello everyone, this is Shayan with you and welcome to my channel. Our today's topic is Law of Demand and the lecture is going to be in English language. If you want to watch the same video in Urdu language, just click on this link. This link will lead you to my Urdu language video of the same topic. But to understand, we have to go to our studios. So here we go. Welcome back. To understand demand law, you must understand these things. In any market transaction, there are two people involved, seller and the buyer. But in demand law, we only discuss the perspective of buyer's side. We do not discuss seller's side. Whatever is happening at seller's side, whatever is happening with the cost of production, whatever the government rules and regulations are, we don't care. We don't discuss it at all. We only discuss the decisions made by the buyer. So demand explores the buyer side of things and we only discuss the buyer's perspective in demand law. Now, what is demand? The demand of an individual consumer indicates the various quantities of a good or service the consumer is willing and able to buy at different possible prices during a particular time period, ceteris paribus. Number one, if you don't know what is called ceteris paribus, then I have made a separate video on this word ceteris paribus, which is the backbone of demand law and the supply law. And if you want to understand what's called ceteris paribus, link is there up. Just click on this link. This link will lead you to my ceteris paribus video. Watch that video as well. In economics, to declare something a demand, three conditions must be met. Now, in English, you can relate demand with want and so on, in English only. But when it comes to economics, demand is totally different thing. There must be three conditions. Condition number one, willingness to buy. In economics, we are discussing the perspective of buyer. And there must be willingness to buy something at buyer's side. That buyer is willing to buy something. If he is not willing, then demand law, something cannot be declared as demand. Okay. Number two, ability to pay. Okay, fine. I have willingness to buy an airplane, but I don't have ability to pay for an airplane. Then airplane will not be considered as my demand. Number three, ready to pay. Okay, I have willingness to buy something, I have ability to buy something, but I am not ready to pay for that. This will not be considered as my demand. So three conditions must be met to declare something a demand in economics: willingness to buy, ability to buy, and ready to pay. Let's move on. Now, what is quantity demanded? Now, there are two things that you see on your screen. Quantity demanded, keep it in your mind. Quantity demanded is totally different from demand. Demand is not quantity demanded and quantity demanded is not demand. Demand is a big picture and quantity demanded is actually the quantity that a buyer or a consumer is willing and able to pay for that specific product on that specific price. Getting my point? That is called quantity demanded. If you read the definition, you will understand. The quantity demanded of any good is the amount of the good that buyer are willing and able to purchase that specific price. Okay, they are willing and able to purchase at that specific price, and you can see there that when the price of that product was $20, the buyer was buying 100 units. When the price moved down to $15, the quantity demanded increased and moved to 150 units. So that is actually called quantity demanded. How much quantity is demanded at a specific price. Okay. Second thing is demand schedule. Please, please, please. Very important thing. Many students cannot differentiate between demand schedule and demand curve. Demand schedule is the schedule which looks like this. And demand curve is the graph which we will draw later on. Okay, so that is actually called a demand curve. It looks like a graph, a downward sloping curve, and so on. But this is called demand schedule. Please, when the question comes about drawing a demand schedule, do not draw a graph instead of this. This is called schedule. And what does this schedule show? Two things. Price and quantity demanded. At specific price, how many number of units are demanded? That is called demand schedule. Is this clear to everyone? I think it's clear. Let's read the definition. The table shows a relationship between the price of a good and the quantity demanded. Yes, there is a clear relationship. At which price, how much number of units are required? That's it. Moving on. Yeah. Determinants of demand. This is very important. There are two types of determinants. Number one, price is itself a determinant of demand. And second determinants are non-price determinants. What are those determinants? Demand law only discusses two things. Price, fluctuation of price, which impacts on quantity demanded. We take the price on y-axis and quantity demanded on x-axis. But we consider that all other non-price determinants will remain fixed. They will not move. And that is the condition of ceteris paribus. And what are those non-price determinants? If any of the non-price determinant moves, then demand law is over and there will be the shift of demand curve. So I will discuss this shift in next video. But at the moment, you should understand what are non-price determinants. And here we go. These are all non-price determinants. First of all, no change in any other variable except price. Price will move, all other variables will remain fixed. To prove your demand law, these conditions must apply. What are these conditions? Number one, income of the consumer is fixed. There is no change in the income of consumer. Neither it increased nor decreased. Income of the consumer is fixed. Taste of the consumer means his taste, his expectations are fixed. They are not changed. Fashion is fixed. There is no new fashion introduced in the market. Substitute good price is unchanged, that is fixed. So there is no change in any substitute good or their prices. There is no change in that. No change in complementary good. You know what is called complementary good? Complementary goods are the goods which come along with the actual product. For example, you buy milk, so the plastic bottle comes together with that milk. That is the complementary good. There is no change in the prices of the complementary good. You have to assume all these variables fixed, then you will be able to draw your demand curve. For example, in exam, if they ask you a question, the income of the consumer was changed, then you are not supposed to be drawing the demand curve, which we are going to draw now. There will be the shift of the demand curve. You will not the same demand curve keeping price on y-axis and quantity demanded on x-axis. No, wrong. Okay, so that is the reason I explained you again these determinants of demand in details, and I have already made a separate video on ceteris paribus, which are actually the determinants of the demand and the supply, which we consider that they are fixed. If you want to watch that video, go there and please watch that video. Let's move on. Now this is quite interesting. You see here, these are only numbers and they look like, I don't know what it looks like, but see, now you will see price is going up, Quantity demanded is coming down, price is coming down, quantity demanded is going up. And here is the demand curve. At every point, quantity demanded, and the downward sloping demand curve. And here it is called a demand curve. Now, what you understand when you see this video? What did you understand? Okay. When the price is going up, the quantity demanded is coming down. When the price is going down, the quantity demanded is going up. So when the price is decreased, there are more units needed. When the price is increased, less number of units are needed. Okay, and here this is called the demand curve. At every point there are specific relationships. And what are those relationships? Just see, when the price was 5, the quantity demanded was 250. Price moved up, price moved from 5 to 10, the quantity demanded has moved toward the origin. That means it is decreased. Keep it in your mind, the price is moving away from the origin. Origin is the point which is O point. Price is moving away from the origin, quantity demanded will move toward the origin. If the price is moving towards the origin, that means it's decreasing, the quantity demanded will move away from the origin, which you see here. Price is going up, quantity demanded is moving there, and price is coming down, the quantity demanded is moving on left side. Are you getting my point? Is it making some sense? Did you understand this? Now it's time to discuss law of demand's definition. And here we go. The first definition which you see here is, according to the law of demand, there is a negative inverse relationship between the price of goods or services and its quantity demanded. Please keep it in your mind. Do not write down that there is an inverse relationship between price and demand. Your demand law will be totally wrong. There is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded, QTD. Inverse relationship means opposite relationship, which I just showed you. The price is moving in upward direction and quantity demanded is moving in downward direction. Inverse relationship. Getting my point? Is it clear now? Okay. Ceteris paribus and all other variables remain constant. You have an option whether to write ceteris paribus or you write all other variables remain constant. If you do not write down any of the sentence, neither you write down ceteris paribus, no, all other variable remain constant, your demand law is not accepted. Keep it in your mind. So these are mandatory words that you have to write down in demand law, and quantity demanded will be affected. Please make sure. Now, easier version of law of demand's definition. As the price of good or service increases, quantity demanded falls. As the price falls, quantity demanded increases. Ceteris paribus. Easy version. More easier version. Whenever the price of any commodity increases, its quantity demanded decreases. Vice versa. Vice versa means the opposite of the same sentence. Like whenever the price of any commodity decreases, its quantity demanded increases. And ceteris paribus. That's it. That is the demand law. It is also complete. And there is an inverse relationship between the quantity demanded. This is not the law, it's just the sum up of whatever we have discussed till now. Why is demand curve a downward sloping curve? Why is it a downward sloping curve? Now, first of all, many students do not understand what is a curve. There is no curve in the demand curve. There is a curve. The curve which we drew, the line which was coming down, connecting all the points, that is called the demand curve. And it is a downward sloping curve. The reason is here. The demand curve is downward sloping curve because it indicates the negative relationship between price of a product and the quantity demanded. It indicates negative relationship. If the relationship was positive, both are moving in the same direction, then demand curve would not be the downward sloping. It would have been the upward sloping curve. curve. So here, because there is a negative relationship between both of these things, that is the reason the demand curve is downward sloping. This is the answer. Lesson wrap up. So what did we learn today? We discussed demand law, and in demand law we only discuss consumer or buyer side. We do not discuss the seller side at all. There is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded, and when the price goes up, the quantity demand comes down. When the price goes down, the quantity demand goes up. Ceteris paribus means only one variable will move, and that is price, which will affect quantity demanded, and all other variables will remain constant, and there is no change in any other factor except price. I hope you have understood today's topic, law of demand. But to understand law of demand completely, you also need to understand how to draw a demand curve. The link is here and in the description below as well. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you have already subscribed, thank you so much. Please refer my channel to others so that they can watch and they can benefit from my videos. Thank you so much.